In the heart of Hong Kong's financial district, Des takes a closer look at the true value of a guest experience.
I think it's fair to say that things have been challenging for the hospitality industry in recent years around the globe. Yet you still see hotels doing major renovations. And I'm not just talking about moving the furniture around or replacing a mattress. We're talking about major overhauls. Well, you see, these hotel operators understand that for a hotel, a major renovation means reinventing yourself and also staying relevant and competitive. And also, a renovation is so much more than just a facelift. It's also about staying true to the spirit of hospitality and the customer experience. Let me show you. Peter, it's so nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's fantastic seeing you too.
Tell me about your design ethos and philosophy.
Okay. You know, over the last probably 5 to 10 years, it has actually changed. I think, firstly, people are very aware of design. They love design, you know, and there's so much available on the internet that they can see.
Yep.
So I think, you know, we've taken the approach of design that is, you know, centered more on the end user. So in the last maybe 5 to 10 years, we have sort of been moving in the direction of what we call holistic design. Holistic meaning that, you know, we do architecture now, we do interior design, we do landscape, we do lighting. All these, I see them as tools to deliver an end user experience. Because I think what's really important is to understand that people make decisions emotionally, maybe much more than they would like to admit, especially guys, right? Guys never think they're emotional, but they actually are, right? You know, why the hell would you buy a Ferrari or something like that? It's the most impractical thing to do, but it's emotion, right? So I think, you know, you make emotional decisions, and I think design needs to be emotive. The whole idea is to create this sort of these moments in a person's life, you know, the emotions, so you feel something. It's not just what it looks like. This whole idea of luxury, I think, has changed. You know, it's not about what you own, but it's really about what you experience. I've always loved design. You know, I'm a compulsive designer. I don't think I can stop. You know, so if you ask me if I rethink what I want to do with my life, you know, I would probably be doing the same thing. I got into hospitality because I felt that hospitality was something that was really interesting. You know, it contained all the different facets of design, of how you shape somebody's world. And a hotel is really a very complex building. You know, it's rivaled only by a hospital.
Yep.
Obviously, given the choice of designing a hospital or a hotel, I'll take a hotel.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
It's like a whole community in itself. It's a living village.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that we look at when we do each and every project is every one we look at it in a very bespoke way. It's very different. It's like, what do we deliver in that experience to the end user? And a big part of that, of course, is what we call the sense of place. How you capture the sense of place. And then I remember back in 08, 09, when we, you know, the financial crisis, it's like the whole hospitality industry was virtually shut down.
Sure.
You know, we're kind of repeating it again, but I mean, it's like, you know, it's, so I said, well, what am I going to do? And so I realized then that people that were building, you know, homes, luxury homes, kind of wanted to emulate that sort of luxury lifestyle of a hotel. And says, hey, you know, that lets me segue into the residential market, which we did, and we did it very successfully. And then I realized also that hotels also want to feel a little bit like home.
Sure.
So, you know, when you travel a lot, and back in those days, you know, I was traveling probably 50% of the time, you know. So when we started this project, you know, it was like, okay, we have a fantastic harbor view over here. You know, that is undeniable, you know.
Amazing.
It's amazing, it's spectacular. But then it's like, how do you deliver Hong Kong? And what is Hong Kong? Very often people say Hong Kong is East meets West. I think that's so shallow and so, it's kind of silly really. But to me, Hong Kong is a city of contrast. It's a city of contrast. You have old right next to new. You know, you have what is very Western next to maybe what is very, very Chinese. You have what is, you know, very technological against something that is maybe old and cultural. And that to me is Hong Kong.
Right.
And that's what sort of inspired me to do this hotel in this manner. But also the people. I always look towards the people, you know, as the inspiration. So the Chinese people, the Hong Kong people, rather, are, you know, a very modern people. They're technologically savvy, they're stylish, they're sophisticated. But deep down in their heart, there's something about them that is Chinese. There's a certain mindset, there's certain values that are Chinese.
Absolutely.
And I think this is really important to be able to sort of, weave that into your design.
So specifically, are there any elements that we see looking around that you want to point to that talk about this exact kind of international, but still having that sense of Chineseness?
Coming into this over here, when we walked through from the lift lobby there, you got this sort of sense. We wanted to create this sort of sense of a homecoming. So you felt like you're walking into the foyer of a beautiful home.
Because most hotel hallways are kind of cold and impersonal.
That's right, and very commercial looking, and you spend a lot more time there than you would like to, as you're waiting for your elevator and so on. You're standing in this very cold thing. It feels almost office-like, right? That's a complete antithesis of what we want to create here. We want to create this sort of sense of being a home. You are staying in your home in Hong Kong.
Right.
So when you come through into this over here, we want to give this sort of feeling of it's very world-class. Has a sort of very sophisticated, modern kind of palette. But within that, you see elements that are like the dark polished wood. The inspiration came from beautiful Ming-style furniture, which has this sort of almost like a French polish on it, French lacquer polish on it, on the finish there. So that is like a sort of a deference to the Chinese culture. But that's contrasted against the timber that is very light, and it looks almost unfinished. That's very natural, it's organic. It's what people are looking for these days. Connection with nature makes you feel secure, makes you feel good, especially in the times we're going through right now. COVID has had a massive impact on the hospitality industry, I think in people's lives in general. And I think people now see their life in a very different way. In pre-COVID days, it was very heady, right? It was all about how successful am I, how much money I'm making, what I do, what I own, all this sort of stuff. And now it's like when you see, hey, family members died, somebody died, so you start to rethink a little bit. I don't want to sound morbid, but but the reality is you start to think of what really is important in your life.
What matters.
What really matters, right? What really matters are family and close friends. And what is success if you're not happy? So I think it's really about delivering happiness. We set up this whole suite here to feel like you're home. This bar over here, this is no mini bar.
It is not mini at all. You can sit like 12, 14 people around this thing.
Yeah, this is the mother of all bars, right?
Yeah.
The living room over here can easily seat 8 to 10 people. Do you have that many people in your suite? Maybe not, but it feels good, right?
Sure.
And design is all about how you feel. It's how you create these emotions. And I think one of the things that drive me in the work that we do is that we are custodians in a sense of creating these moments in people's lives. And I think, one day when we look back on our life, we'll say, who are we? What do we do? You will remember your life as a dash line of moments. And there's so much that is sort of blurred in between that don't really matter, that you don't really remember. But there are certain elements in your life, you'll think back on my childhood, this or this or this or this. These are the things you remember. And in creating designs, it's like, I want what we do. Yes, we take 3 to 5 years actually curating these experiences, but they should be like moments in people's lives. They create these little moments that you always remember them, you treasure them. And I think, in this sort of the times we're living in now, it's like when you create these moments, then eventually these are sort of things that you want to take home with you. That when you're living back in home, wherever that may be, you bring some of these things, the things that you cherish, these wonderful moments, these wonderful memories back with you into your own home.
Well put, Peter. It's these moments that make a trip and stay unforgettable. The culminating experience is what really matters.
It's always nice to talk to Peter. He's so creative and I'm always learning from him. And he's such a nice and warm guy. In that aspect, I think the spirit of the designer is embodied in the transformation of this beautiful suite. Everything about it, whether it's the textures, the colors, or the contrasts, says to the person coming in, you feel welcome here. I think a lot of the time when we're at hotels, if friends come to visit, it's very natural to call and say, I'll be downstairs in the lobby soon. But with a place like this, it'd be almost wrong not to invite them up because it'd be a shame not to share in this amazing new hospitality experience.